Okay, so here we're going to work on the add picture functionality. Before I do that, I need to go into, this is something we did in C# 1. We had the open file dialog. If you go into your toolbox in the dialogs, there's open file dialog. Go ahead and plop that on the form. It'll go into the component tray. So the object is called open file dialog 1, and we'll use that to present the user with an open file dialog box, and he or she can find the picture, browse for the picture, and then we'll isolate the picture name and commit it to the database. So in the Add Picture button itself, we're really just opening that dialog. There's really not a lot going on here. So we would say open file dialog 1 dot show dialog. Okay, that's it for that button. Now in the save, that's where we're actually saving the picture name. So let me just say this. I'm going to just put in a temporary message box here, and I'm going to put open file dialog just because it's been a while since we've talked about this. And I want to remind you of the file name property. Okay, put that in a message box so it'll pop up at us. Let's see, I'm going to run this. Okay, so if I hit the Add Picture button, and we have the open file dialog. So I am going to add the Hello Kitty image eventually. When I select that, I hit open, and that hellokitty.jpg, or basically the whole file path, goes into that file name property. So that's what's in the file name property. Now we are only interested in the last part of it, which is the image name. I don't want to write the full path to the database, just the image name. So we're going to have to isolate that image name, and we have a way to do that. So in the Save button, this is the code for the picture, and what I'm using here is the split method. Okay, so here you have open file dialog file name. You know what that results in, this long file path, and then finally the Hello Kitty. And if I call the split method on that, this is a method that will return a string, specifically an array of strings. What it does is it will split up an array, it'll split up a string based on a delimiter, and then it will return that string in pieces in the form of an array of type string. So basically, here's the long file path. Notice that, well, it's actually, the file name is hellokitty.jpg. Okay, so this is the file name. Okay, we're only interested in the last part, but the whole thing can be split up by the backslash into parts. And so what the split method will do is it'll return an array like this, which I'm calling split strings. That's a name I've given this array in my code. And this is what that array looks like. It just goes through and it chops it all up based on the backslash. And then, really all of this is garbage. What I'm interested in is the highest index in the array, which contains my file name, hellokitty.jpg. So that's what's going on here. So calling the split method, using the backslash as a delimiter. Notice how it's two backslashes. That's because in C# it's going to think that a single backslash is an escape sequence, which is not. Okay, so you have to double up on that backslash to say you really mean a backslash. Okay, so then finally the picture name we know we can get in the highest index of that particular array, our split strings array. So what I can do is do a split strings get upper bound that will just go after the highest index, and I'm using that as an index. Could I just hard code a 9 here? Yeah, that'll work in the case of Hello Kitty, but what if the file path is different and there are not 8 folders to get there or whatever? So you don't want to hard code a number there, but what you will do is just get the upper bound on that array. Now the 0, you can just take it on faith, but that's saying this is the first dimension. The arrays can be multi-dimensional. This array that we're dealing with is not. So 0 means the first and only dimension there. But if it were a 2-dimensional array and you wanted a different dimension, then fine, you would have to put something else in there. But that's not super important. Just 0 there. And then finally, we can isolate we've isolated the cake name or the picture name, and then we're adding that to the new cake. That was the new cake row that we talked about in the last video, which we're working with here because we're in the save of the add new operation. One more thing. I'm refreshing the record as well. Let me comment these out so you can see the effect and why we do this. Okay, so I'm going to add a new record. I'll just say HK. We'll say it's $1 and 1 day. And then I hit add picture. Okay, and there's the Hello Kitty. Right, open. Fine. I would like to see the picture as soon as I add it, and you're not going to do that unless you refresh the record. So that's what we're going to do here. And let's see. Go ahead and uncomment those. All right, there you go. So that should work, and I'll just test it. Okay, so hopefully you'll see the picture now. Not seeing the picture, but okay, in any case, oh, I haven't hit the save button. It's okay, I hit save, and there it is. So let's check the database and make sure the picture name went in there. Okay. There it is. Okay. So that part is working. And then one more quick thing. I think I'll cover the cancel video, or the cancel button in this video as well. Cancel is just if you decide that, like, whether you're adding new or editing existing, you decide, forget it, I don't want to do this, I want to keep things the way they are. So let's just look at the cancel button. There's not a ton of code in here, but basically, to cancel an operation, you want to basically call the binding source's cancel edit method. That'll just put the kibosh on that. And then one thing, if you were adding new, you have to remove that blank record or that garbage record from the binding source. Otherwise, it's going to linger there, and you're going to have this blank record in the binding source. So you can just wipe that out with one line of code. And then that's it. You can disable the save and cancel buttons, and that's that.